You are sitting on the couch. Your dog is asleep on the rug. Your cat walks into the room, approaches the dog, and does that thing they always do. They press their forehead against the dog's leg, slide their cheek along the fur, and wrap their tail around the dog's snout. From the outside, it looks like a scene out of a children's movie. You assume they are best friends. You assume the cat is showing pure, unadulterated affection. But veterinary behavioral ecology tells a completely different story. What your cat is actually doing in that exact moment is executing one of the most sophisticated chemical engineering projects in the animal kingdom. They are not just hugging your dog. They are literally rewiring how your dog perceives its own territory. And most owners have absolutely no idea what is happening right in front of them. Let's start with the affection theory, because it makes us feel good. Cats can be loving, and dogs can be gentle. But to understand what is happening here, you have to stop looking at your pets like a human and start looking at them like a biologist. In a series of studies on multi-species households, researchers started looking deeply into the olfactory, or scent-based, communication between cats and dogs. Cats have specialized sebaceous scent glands located on their cheeks, chin, forehead, and at the base of their tail. When they rub these areas against an object or a golden retriever, they deposit a very specific cocktail of chemicals known as feline facial pheromones. When they rub against another living being, they are utilizing a specific chemical strategy. This behavior has a scientific name. It's called allorubbing, and the chemical transfer is called allomarking. And it is entirely distinct from the scratching they do to mark territorial boundaries. Scratching is a warning. It says, "This is mine, stay away." Allomarking is something much more profound. It is the active creation of a communal scent profile. You see, a cat's primary way of understanding the world is olfactory. When a cat lives with other animals, its brain requires a constant sense of predictability and safety. To achieve this, the cat effectively decides to merge its own chemical signature with the signature of the other beings in the house. By repeatedly rubbing its cheeks against the dog, the cat is depositing its own pheromones onto the dog's coat, mixing their individual scents together to create what ethologists call a group odor. It is a biological password. Here is where the psychology gets absolutely fascinating. This isn't just about the cat making itself feel better. This is an active manipulation of the dog's nervous system. Dogs possess a highly advanced olfactory system, including a specialized structure called the vomeronasal organ, located just above the roof of their mouth. It is designed specifically to detect pheromones. When the cat repeatedly marks the dog begins to smell like the cat. Over time, as the dog continually inhales this combined scent, its own neurochemistry begins to adapt. The dog stops perceiving the cat as an external entity or a potential prey item. Instead, the dog's brain registers the cat as a permanent, safe fixture of its own identity. The cat is literally overriding the dog's predatory instinct, using chemical warfare disguised as a hug. In research observing the interactions between cats and dogs living in the same home, scientists found that dogs who were frequently allomarked by their feline housemates showed significantly lower baseline stress levels when resting near the cat. The feline pheromones act as a powerful appeasing signal. The cat is basically dispensing a mild, natural anti-anxiety medication directly onto the dog's fur, ensuring that the giant carnivore they live with stays perfectly calm. To understand why this evolved, you have to look back at the ancestors of the domestic cat. The African wild cat is a solitary, fiercely territorial animal. They do not share space. If an African wildcat smells another cat in its territory, its cortisol spikes, its heart rate accelerates, and it prepares for conflict. Domestic cats, however, were forced into close quarters with humans, other cats, and entirely different species like dogs over the last 10,000 years of domestication to survive this unnatural crowding without constantly fighting. They had to develop a mechanism to create peace. The communal scent profile was the evolutionary solution. If everyone in the environment smells like the same collective entity, there is no need to fight. But there is a massive catch to this system. Pheromones are highly volatile. They evaporate. They degrade over time, which means the group odor has to be constantly, diligently maintained. Have you ever noticed what happens immediately after you give your dog a bath? The dog comes out smelling like lavender oatmeal shampoo. And almost instantly, the cat appears. The cat might seem deeply agitated, aggressively rubbing against the damp dog, weaving through their legs with an intensity that wasn't there an hour ago. From the cat's perspective, the biological password has just been totally erased. The giant creature in the living room no longer smells like family. It smells like a stranger. The cat is urgently reapplying the pheromones to reestablish the chemical treaty before the dog forgets who they are. The exact same thing happens when your dog comes back from the vet. The clinical smells override the group odor, which is why your cat might suddenly hiss at the dog they've lived with for 5 years. The cat literally does not recognize them until the scent profile is rebuilt. There is a strict hierarchy to how cats apply this scent, and it reveals exactly how they view the dog. Animal behaviorists have noted that when a cat initiates rubbing, they usually start with the head. A head-to-head rub, known as bunting, is the highest form of feline integration. It is reserved exclusively for members of the coring group. If your cat stands on the back of the sofa and presses its forehead into your dog's snout, that is an expression of absolute biological trust. They are placing their most vulnerable physical feature directly into the jizz of a canine, purely to share a chemical signature. But what about the tail wrap? When the cat walks past the dog and simply drapes its tail across the dog's legs, it is depositing a different set of pheromones from the caudal glands. It's a casual reinforcement, a passing reminder that says, we are still part of the same collective. Researchers studying multi-pet households found a specific behavioral loop that practically guarantees peace. When the cat initiates the physical contact and the dog remains passive and accepts the marking, the household is statistically far less likely to experience aggressive incidents. The dog has learned that remaining still during the marking ritual leads to a calm, predictable environment. And then there is the sleeping. When you catch your cat curled up against the dog's back, breathing in rhythm with them, you are witnessing the absolute final stage of the communal scent profile. At this point, the cat isn't just marking the dog. The cat is using the dog as a heavily armored, heated security blanket that smells exactly like themselves. The dog's immense physical size offers thermal regulation and physical protection, while the shared scent profile convinces the cat's highly alert nervous system that it is completely safe to power down. They have engineered the perfect sleeping arrangement. The predator has become a mattress, so the next time your cat saunters up to your dog, purring like a motor, and aggressively rubs its cheeks along the dog's jawline, don't just see it as a cute photo opportunity. See it for what the science proves it to be. A masterclass in behavioral ecology. A 10,000-year-old evolutionary trick. Your cat is asserting control, manipulating neurochemistry, and claiming the dog as its own personal property, all while making the dog believe it was their idea. And honestly, looking at how much we love it when they do it, the trick works on us too. If this changed how you look at the dynamic between your pets, subscribe to the channel and leave a comment below. Does your cat rub against your dog, or do they completely ignore each other? Next time, we're diving into why your cat suddenly bites you when you thought they were enjoying the pets. The science behind it is hidden in their hair follicles, and it will change how you touch them forever.